A reading from the first book of Kings. Elijah the Tishbite said to King Ahab, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, before whom I stand, there shall be neither dew nor rain these years, except by my word." The word of the Lord came to him, saying, "Go from here and turn eastward, and hide yourself by the Wadi Cherith, which is east of the Jordan. You shall drink from the wadi, and I have commanded the ravens to feed you there." So he went and did according to the word of the Lord. He went and lived by the Wadi Cherith, which is east of the Jordan. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the wadi. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Our help is from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Our help is from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Our help is from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. Our help is from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. Our help is from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in, from this time on and forevermore. Our help is from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia. Rejoice and be glad, your reward will be great in heaven. Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain. And after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." The Gospel of the Lord. So I quoted the Beatitudes yesterday in my homily in the context of the protests going on the United States, spilling over into Canada right now. And I had no idea this was the gospel today. I just read that this morning for the first time, realized it. But I think when I read these things, there's ways that we can apply them to our context today, whether it's with regards to, as I said, as I mentioned yesterday, with regards to the protests going on, or with regards to the lockdown and the coronavirus, the effects of that we're living through at the moment. And I think it might be interesting for each of us to look through these things and see how they apply to our situation today. See how we can, make them our own, rewrite them, not rewrite them, but, rewrite them into our context today. So how does this apply today? This is when Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." I see that as being very applicable today. There's so many people who've had to renounce so many things over these past few months. Not just the social distancing, but had to renounce the idea. Some people have lost their job, have had to renounce that work that they might have loved, that might have been a huge part of their identity. People have had to, even those working at home, have had to renounce the idea of having a separation between your work and your home life. There's all the things that we've had to give up. Favorite activities and sports and gatherings in some ways that we've had to renounce. Yeah, it's been hard, but there are some ways in which some of those things that we've renounced have been liberating, that they've freed us up, that idea of maybe working from home means that it might be a struggle at times, but we now get to have all our meals as a family or something like that. Maybe we can see that there is a blessedness in having given up some of these things. Blessed are those who mourn. There's obviously through this virus, there are many, many people who've had to mourn loved ones who have been lost, whether to the virus or not. And the conditions now make it very difficult to go through those rites that we associate with the death of someone, and the funerals and the burials, and it's been very difficult. So those who mourn in a very real way the loss of someone, that's been something that's been doubly difficult this time. But there are all sorts of other things that we've had to mourn. Mourn. It's a silly thing, but right now I should be in Barcelona. That was I should have been in Barcelona with my friends who are all turning 50. That would have been what we'd be doing right now. I had to give up that. We had to mourn that a little bit. But there's all sorts of things in your life that you've probably had to mourn. Blessed are the meek. Well, there are a whole bunch of things where I think in terms of, maybe not insisting on our own way all the time. Maybe insisting that, on being right or on our rights. Maybe this isn't the time to insist that it is my right not to wear a mask in places. And maybe the thing God is calling us to do is to think of the other person, and to think of the anxiety that other people might be having, and to recognize that maybe we don't have to exercise all our rights. We don't have to be right all the time. Maybe we can let other people have their way at times. Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, I spoke about that yesterday. The blessed are the merciful. Those who, I think of all those who are showing such acts of kindness and mercy in this time to the people around them. Those who've been reaching out to neighbors and those in isolation. Those who are going, in a sense, the extra mile for others. Blessed are the pure in heart. I think about people who are, for me anyway, what comes to mind is those who really are giving of themselves selflessly, who take their vocation in the medical profession very, very seriously, and are putting things on the line that you and I don't have to, in order to serve the poor, the sick, to serve those who are in desperate need of help in this time. Blessed are the peacemakers. Well, peacemaking to me involves a great deal of listening and dialogue and recognizing that the other person has a point of view and a story to tell and a perspective that may not be right, but may be worth listening to, because that person is worth something. So maybe that it involves entering into dialogues and listening and not shutting people down and not shouting over them. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. I spoke about that yesterday as well. And then blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Here I feel that we need to reach out and proclaim the good news, that we need to find new ways to do that, new opportunities to do that. We need to take the opportunities as they come to us to proclaim the good news to those around us. These Beatitudes have been important in the Christian faith for 2,000 years. How do we make them our own? How do we take ownership of them? How do we recognize that God is calling us to this life, to these Beatitudes, even today?